Hey, hello, how do you do? Shady Doorags here, and welcome to another episode of Episode Rundown, where I, Shady Doorags, run down the episodes of Miraculous, Tales of Ladybug, and Cat Noir. And today we're looking at episode 24, The Puppeteer. Now, with this episode, there were a lot of things that I liked about it, but there were also a lot of pet peeves that kind of just irked at me. Some of them having to do with what I don't like about the show as a whole. So let's get into it. The plot starts with Marinette babysitting that little girl, I can't remember her name, Winona or something like that. She's babysitting her. We haven't seen her in a while. I was shocked that they brought her back. I thought she was just a one-off character, but Marinette is babysitting her, and props to the people writing this child's lines, because with what she's saying, most of the time, I fully believe that this is a child. Like, she frantically switches between modes. She has a very short attention span. She has these temper tantrums, but in an understandable child kind of way. Speaking of which, the episode starts with her and Marinette playing with these dolls that Marinette made. It's Ladybug and Cat Noir versus a couple of the villains, which maybe you could say is in poor taste of the villains. You know, that kind of traumatized the people who became villains, but I don't know. I guess I'm just assuming they were traumatized. You know, no character in the show has shown any symptoms of traumatization. Anyway, they're playing with these dolls, and Marinette is playing with the Cat Noir and the Ladybug, and Winona is playing with the villains. And Winona gets upset because she loses. And as I was watching this, I was thinking, what little child would want to be the villains? The child would want to be the heroes, or at least the person who's like the coolest in the fight. And clearly, Winona likes Ladybug and Cat Noir. And sure enough, when after Marinette wins, she's like, "No fair, you always win." And Marinette's like, "No, Ladybug and Cat Noir always win." And Winona says, "Well, you're always Ladybug and Cat Noir." And I'm just thinking, like, why though? Marinette, why would you insist on being Ladybug and Cat Noir if you're babysitting? Like, in this episode, she seems to have a good grasp of child psychology, unlike in the last episode. Like, she's stepped up to Alia levels. So it's really weird that she would never let Winona be the heroes, unless Winona specifically wanted to be the villains, but we saw no sign of that. So, anyway, Marinette says she'll let Winona borrow Ladybug. That's when Winona's mom comes in, and her mom says Winona can't have the toy because she has too many toys. Thank you for writing a respectable parent, people. I'm so sick and tired of like these little kids who throw tantrums and their parents like lean one way or the other. They're either too strict or they're too lenient. This parent is a believable, respectable parent. She comes up, she clearly shows love for her child, and then the child throws a tantrum, and she stands her ground and says, "No, you cannot do this thing. Let's go." And she doesn't get overly angry. She's just like, "No, firm hand." I like that. And like I said, they write this child believably. There's one part where they're about to leave, and Winona's just having a fit because she wants that Ladybug doll. And she's like really having a fit, and the mom picks her up and says, "Say goodbye to Marinette." And she says, say goodbye to Marinette, and they walk downstairs, and she's still having a fit. But just before they leave the room, she calms down and says, "Bye, Marinette." And to me, it makes so much sense, you know, because the attention span of a child and how their mind works is it's like, quickly before I leave the room, I better not be on Marinette's bad side. I don't know how to really properly explain it, but I believe that child is a child. So anyway, they go downstairs and Winona realizes she forgot her bag. She runs up to get it, and like a child would do, I've seen children do this. I did this when I was a child. After their parent says no, they try to do it anyway. And she goes up and she asks Marinette, "Can I have the Ladybug doll?" And Marinette really wants to give it to her, but she's like, "Your mom said no." And then the Winona like gives like puppy dog eyes, and instead of giving her the Ladybug, she gives her the Lady Wi-Fi doll that she has, and that makes Winona happy enough. This is a part where normally I would be upset because obvious problem is going to be caused because character did the obvious wrong thing. However, I can relate to this obvious wrong thing. I guess you could just say that's bad on my part, but like caving into a child saying please, it's like I understand how hard that is, and because Marinette is not the parent, I understand how even much harder that is. It's like if the parent caved in, I would be like, no, you're the parent, you gotta show a firm hand. Marinette is the babysitter. She should have said no. She should have said no. I'm just saying I can understand why it was so hard for her to do so. So Monona goes with her mom and she plays with the doll, and her mom sees that she took the doll anyway, even though she said no. And Monona, the way she phrases it makes Monona feel like she's being accused of theft, And that's when Hawkmoth comes in and decides to turn Monona into the puppeteer. And like, it kind of sent a bit of chills down me. Like, to see, like, innocence is something I value a lot, both in real life and in literature. So when I saw Hawkmoth target a child, I was a bit more fearful than I normally am with this show. Even though, I know it's the kind of show where everything works out in the end, but like, it just kind of struck a chord with me because like, I don't play around with messing with children. That happens as she becomes the puppeteer, and the design is very similar to what's her face? I think it was Weather Girl. I think that was her name. It's very similar to her. It looks almost exactly like her, but with a different color scheme. And her powers is she can control anyone as long as she has a doll of them. And it's coming back to me that Hawkmoth, if he really wanted to, could create an army to get these Miraculouses. If he really wanted to. It's like, I was saying this before and I was kind of letting it slide because why doesn't Hawkmoth just create this army? Well, because he has to target people who have immense negative emotions. Okay, but he can target one person that has immense negative emotions and then make the rest of the world, give the rest of the world powers. Like, he can give people powers to give other people powers, which he has done in the past, but they've all been like generic one set powers that the heroes could get used to. This time, he gave one person the ability to give a variety of powers because once the puppeteer controlled the puppet, it was like they didn't have any choice. It was very weird, actually. You would think because those people no longer existed, she wouldn't be able to control them, but she had Lady Wi-Fi, and she could control Alia as Lady Wi-Fi. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So she goes to get the Lady Wi-Fi, and I kind of like the detail that she still tried to hide from her mom. It kind of go against the continuity because most other Akuma villains, once they've transformed, they don't really care what other people think. But it made me feel a strong sense of character when she was like, even though I'm a super villain, I'm still scared of my mom. Children are deeply afraid of their parent, what their parents think of them. So she gets the Lady Wi-Fi doll. Alia and Marinette, meanwhile, are about to go to a movie. And there's actually a part worth mentioning where they see Adrian and Marinette does a spaz out mode, like where she's like, her mind just races and comes up with all these scenarios. She hasn't done that in a while. And I think that's because they haven't been focusing on the Marinette liking Adrian in a while, which I am appreciative of. But anyway, right in the middle of the train, Alia just spastically turns into Lady Wi-Fi. And it's really a cool episode because it's a bring back villains type of episode. And it's also a team up kind of episode. And it's also a reminder of like the ones that had cool powers. Like, I was reminded how some of these people have cool powers. Because even though the Lady Wi-Fi episode was a really annoying episode for me, Lady Wi-Fi herself had awesome powers. She was an awesome villain with really creative powers and a really cool looking design. So she turns into Lady Wi-Fi, and Monona, or the puppeteer, like, starts talking through her. It's like, where are your dolls, Marinette? Mommy said I couldn't have them. And Marinette figures out that it is Monona, but it's not just a simple, oh, hey, I recognize such and such. Monona specifically says things that only Monona would know, and even though she's delivering exposition, she's a child. Children talk like that, where they just summarize what happened, even though you were just there. Like, it made sense. It made a lot of sense to me. So, Cat Noir goes to Marinette, and he's like, he talks to Cat Noir talks to Marinette as Marinette. You know, they don't know who each other is, and blah 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 blah. And he one thing I found weird was that he asked her address. He already knows her address, both as Adrian. Well, maybe not as Adrian, but definitely as Cat Noir, because he's saved her before. And you cannot bring up the argument that episode order, because maybe this episode came. No, because I can't remember his name, but the one who draws the one who draws, he is in this episode as a comeback villain, and in that episode where he was an actual villain, that's the episode where Cat Noir went to Marinette's house to rescue her. So they dropped the ball on that one, where Cat Noir asks Marinette where she lives. Like, there honestly should have been a more of a, hey, we've done this before kind of situation. But they do that, and Marinette changes to the Ladybug, and she and Cat Noir go to Marinette's room. Lady Wi-Fi grabs the dolls, but Ladybug manages to grab her own, and I immediately see what they do there. Because whenever there's a situation where a villain can control other people, they never get control of Ladybug. Because once they do, that is game over. So Ladybug manages to rescue her doll, and only her doll. And Cat Noir comes and says, oh, please tell me you rescued mine. I don't want to be a puppet. And she's like, sorry, but we'll go and get it. And there was one part where Cat Noir used his cataclysm for something. I don't remember what it was. Oh, they had to destroy the Wi-Fi signal. That's what it was. And Cat Noir used his cataclysm. And it's making me think, I think he's too jumpy on that cataclysm. Because he has a powerful pole that can destroy things. It's a magic pole. So I don't know why he didn't just use that to smash the thing. But instead he used his cataclysm, which meant he had to change back, give Plaid cheese, and then change back to Cat Noir again. Maybe they just wanted to eat up episode time. Anyway, they find out that she's at Ladybug calls Minona's mom, and they find out that Minona's at the TV station. So they go to get the puppets back from the Puppeteer. And Minona gets control of all the puppets. There's Lady Wi-Fi, there's Roger Cop, there's the drawing guy, like I said, and Cat Noir. And this is awesome and bad. This is awesome because of the reasons I said before. It's a team up of villains, reoccurring villains, and it's Ladybug's time to show off, to shine. But at the same time, it goes against problems I've mentioned before. Ladybug is now in a situation where she is alone because Cat Noir is now against her. Remember last episode where they were saying, hey, Ladybug, you need Cat Noir? No, this is what usually happens, and it really annoys me because they're supposed to be partners. She's supposed to need him just like he's supposed to need her, but she doesn't need him. She solves this entire episode by herself, not only by herself, with Cat Noir working against her. So, but at the same time, she does it really, really, really cool. The things she does in this episode are just, the action scene is really cool. So they chase Ladybug because she has the Ladybug doll. And I'm thinking, okay, if the Puppeteer gets that doll, she wins. There is a very simple solution to this problem. Destroy the doll. That's all you have to do. That's all she had to do was destroy the doll. Like, it reminds me of that episode of Xiaolin Showdown with Master Feng, where he says, if you capture this dragon, you win. However, if you don't capture this dragon, I win. And they capture it, and right before they get it, he breaks it. And he said, your goal was to win. My goal was simply not to lose. And that's all Ladybug had to do. All she had to do was destroy that doll, and the Puppeteer had nothing. There was nothing the Puppeteer could do, but she didn't do that. So she goes to the roof, and she tricks Cat Noir and just throws him off the roof. Okay. Jeez. It was a tall skyscraper too. She just threw him off. I mean, he survived, but that's not something I would have expected him to, like a controlled Cat Noir, because he can't do anything unless the puppeteer tells him. But he survived. And I forget what she does to Roger Cop and Eve Illustrator, which, by the way, the combination of these very powers I really like, because Lady Wi-Fi already has a good assortment of powers. You know, she can freeze people, she can use her icons to do various things, and then you have the I'm so mad I can't remember this drawing character's name, but you have him. And one thing they did early in the episode was they broke Alia's phone, and the dude comes in and he draws her another phone. It's like, oh, you have the Arsenal guy, the guy who keeps the equipment. That's actually and he could do more than just that. But you know, it's kind of seeing a team. You have Roger Cop, who can control anyone, and you have who's the last one? Oh, Cat Noir. And you have Cat Noir. So Cat Noir is like a frontal assaulter. Alia is ranged. I'm thinking like a League of Legends player now. Alia is like a mage. The drawing guy is like a support, and Roger Cop just has the CC. So it was an interesting group of villains that they chose for this episode. So I liked how they did that. But what Ladybug winds up doing while she's on the roof is she throws her doll to, apparently Ladybug has super strength, because she just chucks that thing super far to the Eiffel Tower. I did not expect that. Like, I think it's wildly inconsistent, because we've never seen Ladybug with super strength. But like, I think there's like a sound effect, and she just chucks that thing super far, and it goes fast too, straight to the Eiffel Tower. And Alia's like, I'm faster than you, and she runs to get the doll, because that's their priority. And, I almost forgot to mention this. Freaking Hawkmoth does it again. Puppeteer gets control of Cat Noir, and instead of saying, hey, give me your Miraculous, Hawkmoth tells Puppeteer, use Cat Noir to turn Ladybug into a puppet. And I'm like, you have other villains you can use. Take Cat Noir's Miraculous. You, Hawkmoth, should be demanding this. You should be obsessed over it. It's the only thing you want. Even if she fails, at least you'd have half the Miraculous that you need. Oh, it's annoying. It's very annoying. But yeah, anyway, back to what I was going to. So, Ladybug, the whole point of Ladybug going to the roof was she wanted to get the Puppeteer alone, because the Puppeteer can't really do anything. She could just fly and control puppets. So she goes back down, but the Puppeteer has left. I don't know where she went. And eventually she finds her, but by the time she does, the villains have all come back. And again, I was about to be on the edge of my seat, because it was a tense situation. It was 1 versus 5. But then I remembered there was the Lucky Charm. And sure enough, Ladybug does the Lucky Charm. And it gives her, okay, this Lucky Charm has probably ticked me off more than any other Lucky Charm. It gives her a multi-outlet, a circuit breaker or whatever. I'm going to put a picture of it on the screen so you know what I'm talking about. It gives her one of those, and I'm like, what are they going to do with that? And oh, by the way, she has not said that catchphrase in a long time. It makes me think the writers realized they used that phrase a lot and just abandoned it. But she's like, okay. And then she does the thing where she looks and finds out what she can do. And then they because she's hiding behind a table while she does that, the Eve Illustrator erases the table, and she comes out and she's like, I'm twice as powerful now. And she's swinging the thing like a yo-yo. Like she has a magic yo-yo, right? She's also swinging the multi-outlet like a yo-yo, like a magic yo-yo. And I'm thinking, why didn't her yo-yo just give her another yo-yo? That's what ticked me off. Because it's like they gave her item and they're like, she should try to be creative. Like they're trying to show how creative she is. When they could have just given her a yo-yo. If she's going to use it exactly like another yo-yo, they should have just given her another yo-yo. There was no reason to do that. So then Ladybug does what's probably the best action scene I have seen in this show. Like, she outmaneuvers and outmanipulates every single villain. And this is awesome, but the problem is the Lucky Charm. The problem is, when I'm watching this moment, I'm supposed to be in awe that Ladybug was able to figure this out, that she was able to do this on her own. But the Lucky Charm is basically saying, this is what you need to win. And you might argue, well, she still has to figure it out. The problem is, if she can't figure it out, that means the Lucky Charm is not doing its job. The Lucky Charm did not give her an item that would be most useful because she couldn't figure out how to use it. So by definition of the Lucky Charm, this feat is not Ladybug's. It does not belong to Ladybug. It belongs to the Lucky Charm. Even though she does some amazing choreography in this. And it's super impressive how she winds up winning the day. But I can't give her credit to it. It reminds me of Skyward Sword, how they say, well, all of this is the goddess's plan. And I'm like, well, I can't give any credit to Link then. Because if everything's a part of the goddess's plan, if she planned all this out at the beginning, then Link doesn't get any of the credit. Because she planned for him to do this. She planned for him to go on this adventure. And that's how I feel with Ladybug. It's not her. It's the Lucky Charm. And that's actually really upsetting because I did want to give her some credit for that fight scene. So she gets the wand, which is what the Akuma is, and breaks it and releases the Akuma. And at the end, she's like, the girl comes back and she's like, now can I play with Ladybug? And Marinette says, no, let's go to the zoo instead. And I'm like, okay, listen, you promised this girl that she could play with this doll when she came back. Her mother didn't say she couldn't play with the doll. She said she couldn't have it because the mom couldn't find a place in the house to put it. So you make this girl a promise that she can play, and then you're like, no, let's go to the zoo instead. Like, they were trying to show that she had grown. She had learned to say no from her mistakes. But she broke a promise in order to do it. You're substituting one evil for another. Or I guess evil's a strong word, but you're substituting one bad trait for another. And I was not okay with that. Like, the dolls aren't evil anymore. You can let her play with them. So, yeah. Those are my thoughts on this episode. I want to say overall I liked the episode. There was a lot to like about this episode. But at the same time, there was a lot of things I've come to really get me upset about this show came out in this episode. My biggest nitpick didn't come out though, with the whole, oh, she can recognize them thing. But yeah, I think I'm gonna put it somewhere between meh and like. That's what I'm thinking. I'm probably even gonna go past the like. But yeah, we'll see what happens once I edit the video. Anyway, we got 2 more left, and then we say goodbye to the Miraculous episode rundowns. So this is gonna be a time. But I'll see you guys next time for episode 25. Yes. This has been Shady Doorags. So long, farewell, Avita say, goodbye.